this video will be a little bit shorter than the others. But as I was talking about in the earlier video, I was talking about the King of Brazil, Don Pedro. So Don Pedro two, so Pedro two. I'm sorry, but I guess it was Dom Pedro two, as they say down here. So it's like Dome is like a term that they use with owner, but King Pedro two, and or it has to do with dominion. So he was the son of Pedro one, and Pedro one was the first king of Brazil. Now Brazil became independent in 1822 of Portugal, and as I was mentioning in the earlier video, that the independence of Brazil is different from the independence of the United States. It's basically the son of the king or descendant of the king becoming independent from Portugal. Now, I think the first emperor of Brazil was Maria one, and she was the daughter of the king. And then you had her son, which was, I believe, it was John or John the Clement. So it would be John six of Brazil, and so they were the emperors. But then Pedro took over. So Pedro is referred to as the liberator, the soldier king, kind of in that way. And Pedro two is referred to as um, mag- magnanimous Pedro. And one of the things interesting about Pedro too is that he did not want to be king. So that was one of the things about him, and he traveled around the United States and other places. He didn't want to do that. And I think as far as he was concerned, he just wanted to abolish a kingship. Had no desire for it. You know, he probably had a different mindset. You know, it's kind of like maybe I don't know. Like somebody like Albert Einstein. He might not have the same desire for things. He was probably very intellectual, very intelligent, and he probably had just this profound understanding and just didn't care. You know, it could have been his upbringing too. Maybe his mother was, or his educators were very good. He probably received very good education, private education, and so forth. But he just didn't want to be king, and he was well liked around the world too. He he had a lot of um, connections with different people, such as Darwin, Victor Hugo, Nietzsche, Richard Wagner, Louis Pasteur, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So he had some very interesting friends. It wasn't. It seemed like he sought after knowledge, and so. But because of him, I think Brazil eventually became a republic. I think he pushed this ideal of getting rid of a monarch, and Brazil maybe becoming more like the U.S. or something like that, but becoming a better place to live. So when you go back and you look at Brazilian history, Brazil's a little bit different than the idea that we normally have. Now we're here. We're sort of arriving in the place where the the fair is. Now this place right here is a supermarket that I go to a lot. Not this one, but in some of my earlier videos, you'll see videos of me in places like this where showing the different types of products that they have in these stores. So some of these supermarkets are huge. The one that's close to my house is much bigger. It has a much larger parking area, and most of the parking area is covered. And I can always get parking under the shelter in the shade or when it's raining. So that's one of the things I like about some of these Brazilian supermarkets. three or four of them where I live in the town where I live. They're these massive. I think you might be able to compare these to something like. It's possible. I mean, you probably could compare it to like Costco or Sam's Club in a way, but I think that's it's sort of. But to me, it seems more like a supermarket than one of those places. But it is a big box supermarket, and it it tries to sell things in bulk quantity. It gives you better prices if you buy in bulk sometimes. But I do like the convenience and the shade, not having to park in the sun. I did this time because there wasn't a spot, but I was not going here. I was going to another place, and I just had to take what I could get. And that's it. But see you next video. Thank you for joining me on this Brazilian adventure. If you enjoyed exploring Brazil with me, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to Lost in Brazil for more exciting content and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and questions or suggestions in the comments below. I love hearing from you. And until next time, obrigado and safe travels.